Senator Roberts.
Thank you, Chair.
I know you'll be your usual prompt self.
And thank you all for attending today. While your annual remuneration package, Dr Marshall, is $1,049,000 and Dr Mayfield's is $613,000, the median income in Australia is just $49,000. Government policies based on your advice are hurting everyday Australians. So you may not feel the impact, yet 25 million Australians do feel it. For some, it is now excruciating. With your pay comes accountability. So I'm a representative and a servant to the people of Queensland and Australia, and as such, it's my duty to hold agencies advising government policy accountable. Particularly agencies advising governments over the last 30 years on policies now costing billions of dollars and impacting our nation and all Australians to the extent of trillions of dollars. So my questions are fairly short, each of them. In your answers to my questions in person and in writing on notice at last October's supplementary estimates hearings, you cited 7 papers attempting to justify your assertion that the rate of the most recent period of temperature rise was unprecedented over the last 10,000 years. You did not specify the location of the basis of your claim, so we went through all of the papers. And we actually contacted Le Cavalier and got the data from the authors and uncovered many startling issues and questions that raise serious doubts about CSIRO's conclusions that appear unfounded at best. So detailed examination of your references reveals some startling facts. Firstly, are you aware, for example, that Kaufman 2020, which you cited, in them importing data from the Dahl-Jensen borehole, they admitted the first data point, completely omitted it, and then loaded the remaining data points in the reverse time order. Are you aware of that?
So, Chair, if I may, because the Senator's said a lot there in the preamble to the question, CSIRO exists to help all Australians, all 25 million. And we have done so for the 100 years of our existence, but perhaps never more so than in the last year, Senator, where we've protected citizens,
COVID,
we've
Dr.
developed vaccines.
You had a very long preamble, Senator Roberts, which is unlike you, but let's just let the official respond.
We've created personal protective equipment to protect frontline health workers, and we've helped government, both state and federal, to better understand the spread of the disease, its longevity on surfaces, and how to best protect our people. And as a result of all of that work, Australia has come through this pandemic in remarkably good shape. There are crop yields that are at record highs despite drought, despite other impacts of a variable climate. So, Senator, we are deeply concerned about the well-being of all 25 million Australians. And you, Senator, right now, I can bet, have at least 3 things on your person that were created by CSIRO science that maybe you don't even know you have, that are benefiting your life. So whatever we're paid, which is decided by the REM tribunal, not by us, is because everything we do is designed to benefit Australia. And like you, Senator, we want to ensure that all Australians, not just your constituents, but all Australians, have the lowest possible cost of energy and the best possible life that our science and technology can create for them. And believe me when I say, when we do things like the GenCost report, it's all about helping industry and governments make the right decisions for the future energy mix so that we can have a lower cost of energy, so that Australian industry can have a lower cost of energy, so that we can produce more products and generate more revenue here in Australia, rather than shipping raw materials overseas and buying them back at 10 times higher price. So we have the same mission, Senator, as you.
So I've got a lot of information from you, but not an answer to my question. Are you aware, for example, that in your response to the Senate committee, as a result of Senate estimates, that your paper that you cited, Kaufman 2020, in importing data from the Dahl-Jensen borehole, omitted the first data point altogether and loaded the remaining data points in the reverse time order? Are you aware of that?
Dr. Mayfield might be. I'm certainly not, Senator. But
Thank you for the answer.
So, Senator, you'd be aware that we've probably met on a number of occasions, and we've provided quite a lot of exchange of information, whether it's be through this forum or through questions on notice, or from letters that you provide to us prior to estimates. So we've done that over quite a long period, and in that time I guess our observation is that you don't agree with our answers. We can't change that, but we also can't change our answers because we're very comfortable that they're based on the best scientific knowledge and scientific process. So, in the response we've given you earlier today with regard to the most recent questions which we've tabled through the committee, I think, we will have to fundamentally disagree is the bottom line.
Are you aware that
we're aware of your argument, but it doesn't
importing
change
data
the
from the
conclusions that we
Dow-Jensen
make.
borehole omitted the first data point altogether and loaded the remaining data points in the reverse time order? That's what you presented to the Senate as evidence. Are you aware of that
We've also
fact?
presented a lot of other information to you, Senator.
I'll get to that.
On many occasions. And
We'll get to them.
the bottom line is
Are
you
you
never
aware
agree.
of Kaufman error?
So, we know what we believe in, we know what we understand through the scientific method.
Let's move on.
And
Number
that's what we
two.
will stick with. So we won't be moving away from our answer. We
Number
have to agree to
two,
disagree.
Are you aware that Kaufman 20, and I note that neither answered my question, are you aware that Kaufman 2020 disagrees with another of your references, and that is pages 2K 2013, the reconstruction that has no uptick in recent temperatures? No uptick. Are you aware of that?
We're aware of all of these claims through the various interactions that we have with you, Senator. We've provided our answers. Those are the answers we have. They're not going to change.
Are you aware, number three, that your reference, North Report 2006, directly contradicts CSIRO's claim, your claim, that the latest rate of temperature rise is unprecedented? Are you aware
Senator, again, we've been through all of this. We can go through every single question that you make, but it's the same general response. We provided our best response. We're very comfortable with those responses and the basis of them, and we don't have any basis on which we would change them, and we have to agree to disagree. Bottom line.
Happy for you to keep asking if you really need
Next
to.
question.
But we are behind schedule.
Next question. Le Cavalier, which is one of your key papers from 2017, makes a conclusion that hangs on one data point from one short ice core in contradiction of CSIRO's clear statement last October to me in writing. Now, we obtained Le Cavalier's data from the authors and uncovered many startling issues. In Le Cavalier 2017, proxy data was used for recent times when more accurate thermometer data from many Arctic thermometer stations is readily available. Yet in response to our comments about Marcotte 2013, which you cited, in Senate supplementary estimates hearings last October, you said thermometer measurements, when available, should be used instead of proxies. We agree. When the proxy is replaced with an amalgam of Arctic thermometer measurements, there is no period of unprecedented temperature rise in Le Cavalier that you cited. Why?
So again, Senator, we've been through this many times. We've given you our answer.
I'll go to the next one because the chair wants me to hurry up. In citing Marcotte 2013, how did the CSIRO overlook mentioning the author's own statement written in the paper, quote, "The results suggest that at longer periods, more variability is preserved, with essentially no variability preserved at periods shorter than 300 years. So for periods shorter than 300 years, no variability is preserved in the data. The authors explain that variability is not preserved for periods shorter than 2,000 years. And for periods of 300 years or less in duration, no variability passes through the process that Marcotte used to analyse his data. Given the duration of the most recent period of temperature rise is just 40 years, and that's Marcotte citing Mann 2008 in his own paper, in the paper you cited, there is no validity to CSIRO's claim that the rate of recent temperature rise is unprecedented. All 8 of your papers have been flawed, completely flawed. There's no evidence in your papers, not one of them.
So
Why
Senator,
are you misleading the Senate and holding us in contempt?
We are not misleading the Senate.
You are, sir.
We've made our responses known to you in a number of meetings, and we've had
These are
climate
simple
scientists
facts.
talk
Let me
to you.
continue then.
And you
cited
continue to ignore our answers, and we can't change
This
that.
is why I don't accept your
Senator
answers.
Roberts.
I haven't heard the answers. I'd be interested in them, Dr. Mayfield. I think Senator Roberts has raised some interesting points. Can we all hear the answers?
Senator, it might be easier just to look at the State of the Climate report that we produce every 2 years
We'll
in
get to that
partnership
in
with
a
Bond.
couple of months. We'll
because
get to that one, don't worry.
the data's in there, Senator. You can see it. It's not
We will get
theoretical,
to
it's
that.
measured.
My 8th question, you cited the IPCC, the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change from the UN, Assessment Report 5, Working Group 1. This is an irrelevant citation as the United Nations IPCC AR5 WG1, the Working Group 1, Summary for Policymakers itself contains no reference to rates of temperature rise in the last 10,000 years. That's the only unprecedented change you claim to be in climate. Out of all the meetings we've had, all of the letters exchanged, that's the only one you claim is unprecedented, and yet doesn't mention it at all. There is no reference even to the Holocene period or the last 10,000 years. Most citations in Working Group 1 are for only the last 1,000 years. Can CSIRO explain the inclusion of this irrelevant citation that contains no logical scientific point relevant to your claim? Can you explain why you're using that?
Again, you would be familiar with 3 meetings that we had. We had climate scientists there who went through the arguments with you. We've been there, we've done that.
Chair, can I just raise a point of order? I don't think it's appropriate for a witness to refer to private briefings they've had with another senator. I mean, Senator Roberts is asking for a question in this format, in this framework, unless there's some public interest that's being claimed here. I think the senator deserves an answer.
No, well, I think Senator. Sorry.
A lot from his answer, Matt. Thank you.
So the records of those meetings has been tabled previously.
Correct.
And as has the response to your various sets of questions. So there's a lot of information that's been tabled.
The fact is, this has been a back and forwards that's been going on at least my whole time on the committee. I've got to say, Senator Roberts, I admire your perseverance, but I think this is very, very... I think it's getting to the point of being unproductive at a point in time where we are more than half an hour behind schedule, and we have other important witnesses we want to be able to devote time to.
Okay,
so, Senator
I'll wrap
Roberts,
up with 2 more.
So, 2 more, then we really need to conclude.
So your reference, pages 2K 2013, is an irrelevant citation as it covers only the last 2,000 years. We asked for 10,000, and cannot support your claim of what you say is unprecedented over the last 10,000 years. And the second half of this question, your reference, pages 2K 2017, is an irrelevant citation as it covers only the last 2,000 years and cannot support your claim of what is unprecedented over the last 10,000 years. Why did you cite those 2 references?
So again, the climate scientists that work with CSIRO have an understanding of the science literature. They're making those references because they add to the argument. And as I said earlier, you don't agree with the answers, and we can't change that.
Senator, are you worried that somehow we're giving bad advice to the government about what's going to be the lowest cost of energy?
Definitely.
Because that's what you said in your starting...
And on climate policies which are driving the destruction of our economy.
That question has nothing to do with any of that modelling that you're talking about at all.
I'm talking about the underpinning advice that's driving policies on climate and energy.
So am I, Senator.
Climate advice.
So am I, Senator, and it's about the cost of solar, hydrogen, nuclear, coal, gas,
stealing
whatever we want to
rights,
use. That's got nothing to do with climate modelling.
Sector.
The future cost of energy is about the economics and the technology and the science that we can produce.
I'm not talking just about energy. I'm talking about climate science that underpins the destruction of our economy, including energy, but also property rights, water resources, right across our country. That's what I'm talking about. And you're paid $1,049,000 and $49,000 a year in remuneration, and we're getting this as science.
All right.
It's junk.
Senator Roberts, you've made your point. Dr. Marshall, I'll let you reply, but then we are going to call it a night.
Senator, it is a fact that CSIRO's science is in the top 1% of the world. In some cases, in the top 0.1%. It is a fact, Senator. It is a fact.
And claiming science.
It is a fact, Senator.
Science is not science.
Senator Roberts.
You have not given
Senator
me
Roberts.
Data. Not a bit.
I think
I will give you the data to substantiate every word I just said.
Okay,
I'll give it to you, Senator.
Let's leave it there.